Well, good morning, everybody. I'm kidding. I'm not going to talk in that accent. Unless you guys want me to. I can make it happen. Alrighty, I'm going to talk in this accent the rest of the evening. I'm kidding. No. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to Elevate. We're so excited you're here. Typically what we do on Sunday mornings is we share a praise or a prayer card that we got on a Saturday. Anyway, we have a praise. We just had a family moved from Marble Falls back home, and they had a safe travel. They made it there safe. So we were super, super happy about that. But other than that, we just want to welcome you guys. If it's your first time, we have a Let's Be Friends card or the Jesus cards in the front of your seat. You can fill those out, put them in the giving stations for the end of service, and we would love to get to know you and meet you. Anyway, if everybody would stand with us, we're going to get right into worship.
Your favor waits within the future. My dreams are small compared to yours. Why should I worry about tomorrow when I know that all I gotta do is trust you, Lord? Every little thing's gonna be alright. Every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Every little thing, everything will be alright. Behind the scenes and in the detail, you planned the perfect way for me. Why would I dwell upon the road's uncertainty when all I gotta do is look to you? When all I gotta do is look to you. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Every little thing, everything will be alright. Every little thing, everything will be alright. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Every little thing, everything will be alright. Every little thing, alright. Every little thing, everything will be alright. And you gotta believe it. He will not relent chasing after you. As long as you're here on this earth, he's forever with you. Around you, side, left, all around you. Believe it.
You will not relent, my God. Right beside me, you have always been. When in pride I've pushed away, it's your mercy that has pulled me in. You won't walk away, won't give me up. I know your grace has forgiven much. You call me yours, how can it be? In awe again, you remembering, you won't give me up.
I will not refuse you, God. Right beside is where I wanna be. I trust you with my heart and soul. I'm trusting you with everything. You won't walk away, won't give me up. I know your grace has forgiven much. You call me yours, how can it be? In awe again, here remembering, you won't give me up. You won't give me up. Right now, as the music plays, just think about all the tests and trials he has brought you out of. That he didn't let you go now one moment. You might have had a little struggle here and there, but he was there to help you, as a father does with his kids. How vast is the grace she gave. I'm free and forgiven. Your love is the safest place, the peace I will live in. Now I have eternity, and I'll sing of your truth. The hope that will never fail, the love that is so strangers neighbor, our blood is one. Children of generations, of every nation, of kingdom come. Oh, don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Oh, 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 don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear no evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from.
Come on, right now, as we're going to go into the bridge, we're going to swing open wide the gates of heaven so that his blessings and his mercy comes down on you. So get it, Janice.
Swing wide, all ye heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All his children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus. Swing wide, all ye heavens, let the praise go up
Well, amen. Well, I don't know about you, but that second song, right before I sang, I just said a prayer under my breath and said, God, just take over, just use me. And that meant almost crying and losing myself for a second there. But that's when you know those little nuggets that God shows his love for you. Just when you ask, when you're just in complete submission to him. And, you know, all those songs kind of tied into grace and God's love and his heart that chases after us and doesn't ever stop. And, you know, I'm reminded of when we talk about in James 1, where it talks about the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And when we come here on a Sunday morning, when we go to our word, when we spend that time with God, that's where we're getting strengthened. We're getting renewed. We're getting a new, fresh start, that we get to start our day with the one who created us, who molded us in our mother's womb to now. And we get to give him honor. And don't run from that, because sometimes I feel like we kind of get in this thing that, well, you know, I made this mistake, but, you know, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to be about it. But that's just kind of where we're at. So I just encourage you, you know, lean on that grace that God gives, overflow and an abundance of. Don't let past or mistakes or things you're going to do or even do tomorrow or right when you leave this church parking lot, because I sometimes do that. But just know that there's a grace that covers you. There's a grace that loves you, and there's a grace that's ready to catch you every single time you fall. So just take courage. Like we sang on the song, take courage, let the praise go up and walls fall down. There is no use of hiding from him. He knows it all anyways. Amen. Well, y'all have a quick seat. So, anyways, so we never want to end our service without giving an opportunity to give. So here at Elevate, we just ask three things. One, that you pause, you think about it. Then number two, that you pray about it. And three, that you walk that out in obedience. And we make it really easy here. There's ways to give. We have online. We have the hub over in the back. We have giving stations on the end of the aisles. There you can also put your Let's Be Friends cards, your prayer praise cards. And as you're filling those out, if you want them to be confidential, just write that on there. Nobody else will see that, not even staff, just our pastors. And then whatever information you want to put in there, just drop it off in that box as well. And then, of course, text to give, you just write the number down and it's good to go, easy peasy. So if y'all would, we got 90 seconds, meet a friend, run to the bathroom, get some coffee, whatever, and we'll be right back here. Good morning again, Elevate Church. Everyone, if y'all could find a seat. I just want to give a shout out to our online presence right now who are watching. Thank you so much for tuning in with Elevate. So I don't know how many of y'all came to Dad Fest last week. It was an amazing turnout. I didn't go, but I saw all the pictures and heard all about it. There was so much to be done. All the dads were there, just kind of in their element. Cars were there. The ladies were there. There was a lot of pride on the line. I heard there was an arm wrestling tournament. I'm super glad I wasn't there because a lot of men would have went home crying. Just put it out there. But it was super, super awesome to see so many smiling faces. We had a lot of dads helping their kids with our Home Depot kits, and there was a lot of men who stepped up for, kids that didn't have parent figures. So that always warms my heart, and I just love to see how amazingly generous our men are at Elevate Church and stuff. So I'm super, super excited. It was super fun. I'm not sure who won the bragging rights for the cook-off, so I'm pretty sure I'll get that in an email sometime. Brandon, oh, my third picture's coming. Look at that. That's a sign of failure right there. But anyways, soon we have our skate park event 2 coming up in July, so be checking our online so you can know when it is if you want to sign up to help with drinks, whatever. It is so fun to go out there, love on that community. That is definitely our heart. And, I always remind people our bassist, Gabe, he is a product of our skate park event. He's been super faithful for the past 5 years. And also, the WAVE conference. If you have a teenager who is planning to go to WAVE, and they are signed up, ready to go, you have a mandatory parent meeting with Sam and Jordan today right after service. You must attend this meeting if your child plans to go. You get all the information that you need, everything to go through that. And then also, we have our summer socials that are in full swing, guys. There's so many fun things. We probably have the most we've ever had right now. So please check our online and see if you want to join. Just pop in. They're not super, you don't have to make a commitment. And also, Growth Track, we've changed it for the summer. It is a social. So be looking out for on our online, or Adriana will let you know when the next one is. It won't be first Sunday, week 1, or whatever it is, Growth Track 1. And we're just doing a little bit different just for summer, just to kind of give y'all time to have fun with your families and, go out. And if you haven't noticed, our pastors are gone because they are on some much needed vacation. So we have my second favorite ginger in the whole world who's going to be preaching. It's going to be awesome.
Hey, there we are. How you doing? Hey. All right. Anyway, she said it. My name is Sam Miller. This is my amazing wife, Jordan Miller, right there. Yes. No, wave a little higher. Thank you. Oh, yes. Anyway, so we do a lot of the teen ministry stuff around here. Still growing. Still need help if y'all know anybody. Okay, nobody. Thanks. Appreciate that. Joe, we're on our own. I'm kidding. Anyway, no, so Pastor Shane and Miss Sandy and the family are gone this week because Parker is turning 15. He's like 6'8" and 15 years old. So, he's 16. I was right then first? Okay, I'm going to go with them. Sorry, 15 and still 6'8", which makes me feel terrible. No, but yes. I was told to share a joke with you guys. So I watched this like little snippet of a comedian the other day, and he was like, everybody tries to make short people feel better by telling short guys that they're short kings. And he's like, so was Lord Farquaad from Shrek. So I just want to say, because I have some teens that lovingly call me a short king, please stop. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, watch it. I got a mic. Anyway, no, so today, Pastor Shane asked me to talk to you guys a little bit, just like summer-related stuff. And anyway, I feel like the summer's always awesome. Like, I love the summer, except for the heat. And I moved to the wrong place if I didn't want heat. And I got the wrong job because I work outside. So, lose-lose. But, no, it's awesome being out here. I love the water. So, it's been really cool. But he was asking me to prepare something for you guys. And I was like, what can I talk about? And so I was thinking about it. And anyway, I just thought I'd talk about something that's just kind of I've just been dealing with on my own, and it's this thought, and I titled it Grow As We Go. It's just kind of this thought process of like growing in the moment, not necessarily being grown and then coming across the situation that you're like fully prepared for. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever gone through a season like that? My mom and dad have done foster care now for like 22 years. And anyway, they
will tell me every single time, they're like, nobody gives you a handbook. Nobody gives you guidelines. Nobody gives you anything. You have no understanding of what you're getting yourself into in these situations when you get a new foster baby. Like, nobody's giving, you have no understanding, no clue, no matter how long we've been doing this, no matter how many foster kids we've had. Like, it doesn't matter. They're like, we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. We have to learn as we go, right? We have to grow as we go. So anyway, so I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that today. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and please don't hurt my feelings. But I'm gonna say, like, since it looks as though I work out pretty often, correct? Yes. All right. Well, you guys answered it poorly. No, since it looks like I work out pretty much every day for like 10 to 8 hours, or 8 to 10 hours. I'm gonna ask you guys a question for those of you who actually work out every single day and have a routine of it. Have you guys ever heard the saying, time over tension? Is anybody in here? You can raise your hand, say, yeah, I've heard it. Nobody. Got it. Okay. So anyway, I went to college. I played soccer in college. I had a personal trainer, and they would always tell me as I'm working out, as I'm getting ready, for like soccer, if I'm trying to build endurance, if I'm trying to build strength muscles, anything like that, they would tell me time over tension, right? You have to make sure when you're lifting weights, you have time, essentially time of tension, right? There's going to be times where it's like your muscles are completely fatigued and you're like in the middle or the last part, like the last rep of your set, and you're like, I can't do another one. And they're like, oh, well, you have to, And then they like try to encourage you, and you're like, you do it, stop. But no, it's like they tell you time over tension. It's all about hitting the muscles, targeting the muscles, finding the muscle group that you're going for, and then putting tension on that specific muscle, because what it does is it breaks it down for it to then rebuild. Does that make sense? So that's kind of where I came up with the grow as you go. So the time over tension still applies to like our day-to-day with like our walk with Christ, everything like that. Like we go through life and it's constant tension. Everybody in here experience some sort of tension as they walk through life. It's something that something pops up that they weren't ready for. There's a struggle, an argument, anything like that. Yeah, I mean, we all deal with it, right? It's constant. It's tension as we go through life. Like, God never told us life was going to be easy, right? He told us that we were always going to carry some sort of yoke, like a burden of some sort, right? But he says, if you give me your yoke, then I'll give you mine, which is lighter, right? And his yoke consists of us going out and reaching people, like helping people, loving on people, valuing people, right? So that's what he's saying. He's like, you're going to go through tension in life, and you can grow from it, or you can absolutely stay stagnant. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I came across this really, really good saying that popped up the other day. And I've been thinking about it all week. But it says, when you start doing great things on purpose, you'll begin to do them on accident. I'll say it again. When you start doing great things on purpose, you begin to do them on accident. Does that resonate with anybody? Like for me, that hit so hard because I was like, it's so difficult sometimes for me to do things on purpose, especially when I don't want to do them. Like, I have to go to work, okay? So, I purposefully go to work. But I don't necessarily have to give it 100% every single day, right? That's the small portion of the great things that we do on purpose so that we can start doing it on accident. It becomes repetition. It becomes a routine. It becomes something that we're constantly doing to build up this tolerance inside of our head so that when it comes time, we do things with excellence. We do things to the best of our ability. We do things as though we have something to do them for right? And to represent, which is Christ. So I'm gonna do a little, like, couple demonstrations because I love making myself look like a fool. So I'm gonna show you guys some of the workouts that I'm relating to this time, to this growing as we go. Okay, so if I look really good, you can come talk to me after service. But if you think my form's wrong, bye. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. Don't leave yet. Just after service sometime. No, so I want to talk about like 3 specific things. Okay, I want to talk about a couple different kinds of resistance. When you're talking about working out, you're talking about resistance, whether it's body weight, whether it's with weights, whether it's like endurance, and you're like pushing through something and then trying to persevere and persist. Anyway, the first one is routine resistance. Okay, so this is like the routine stuff that our body doesn't really want us to do, but we know will make us stronger. And if we do it on the spiritual aspect, it'll grow our spiritual muscles. So push-ups. Does anybody in here wake up in the morning and think to yourself, push-ups? Me either. No, I don't wake up in the morning and think to myself, get a nice 20 in, you know? I can get a 50. I don't know. Nobody thinks of push-ups. I mean, you don't think of waking up in the morning and putting yourself in a position to be like, oh yeah, first thing I'm doing. Right? Because it's something that we kind of see as mundane, unnecessary, something that's not really like pertinent in that moment, so we just don't do it. How many of us, though, wake up and the first thing we touch is our phone? That would be me. That's the first thing I go to, right? I've created this routine of immediately when I wake up, I'm looking for notifications like people are texting me in the middle of the night. It's not like I have Snapchat, you know? Like I'm pretty much just like looking to see the verse of the day because that's what pops up, you know? But I'm like, I feel cool. No, but like we have this routine of like where we've built this like almost this like consistent schedule in our head of following through with one specific thing every morning. Like I said, I've never rolled out of bed, gotten down on the floor, and been like, I'm going to pop out a 20-piece, you know? Like I've thought to myself, let's go to McDonald's and get a 20-piece, you know? But I've never woke up and been like, oh yeah, I'm just going to start like doing some push-ups. Okay, don't woo, please, because I know this doesn't look great, you know, but we're trying here. But I've never been like, oh man, I'm just going to start doing some push-ups. Like I'm just going to start working out. Like I've never been in that routine where I'm like, this is the first thing I'm waking up and doing. Thank you. I saw that. No, but like the counterpart to like waking up in the morning and the first thing we go through or we go to is a push-up, the counterpart would be like waking up and the first thing we read is our Bible. Right? It's something that we know we're supposed to do, but we don't really want to do it. Like it's something that we know will help us to be better as people, like in our community, like it's going to help us build value. I mean, the Bible, like God says, meditate on my word day and night, right? So that it won't depart from you. He's saying, what he's saying is that he's saying what you put in comes out. So first service, I asked, I said, if you're driving down the road 85 mile an hour, somebody pulls out in front of you and hits their brakes, what's the first thing that comes out of your mouth? I know the answer to that. It's, I love you. I'm kidding. No, it's what you're putting in, what you're indulging in your everyday life is going to start coming out. So we should be putting in more of the good than the bad, correct? Right? We should be like preparing ourselves for those kind of situations the every day, rather than just allowing ourselves to be filled up with this stuff that's not necessarily good. And then when bad things happen, there it goes. Whoops. Second thing is sit-ups, okay? This is like watching how we speak. Sit-ups are a little bit more difficult. Kind of hate them. Not my favorite. I feel like it's like something that just feels uncomfortable. And have you ever watched somebody do a sit-up? I don't really want to do it for you, but like I want to show you how awkward it looks when you watch somebody do a sit-up. Oh, okay. All right. I'll show you real quick, okay? You're only getting one. You're not getting three. I'm not, yeah, okay. So, you like, this is like the way that we speak, right? We kind of get in a position where it's like, we're kind of uncomfortable. Like, this isn't necessarily a comfortable position for me to just stay in right here. You know, just like constantly. Like, I'm not going to choose to sit like this. But this is what I'm saying. Like, if I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready to do a sit-up, there's a couple things I have to do, right? I have to keep my feet planted, and I have to keep my core engaged, right? The way that we speak is the exact same thing, right? If we aren't watching what we're saying, if we're not keeping a close, like if we're not keeping the words that we say tight, then anything's going to come out, right? So as we sit here and we do a sit-up, right? Oh, I didn't struggle that bad. That was encouraging. I'm going to start doing those. No, I mean, as we sit here and we do a sit-up, right? Like, it's this constant thing. We're contracting muscles. We're building muscle. We're breaking stuff down. But at the same time, we're building a routine and we're building endurance. We're building muscle so that when things come that we're not really ready for, we know how to react, right? We're growing as we go. That's more routine growth. The last thing is squats, okay? This is like watching how we act, okay? This is cutting the things that pull us away from God, cutting them out. And then this is choosing on our own and with God where we need less and where we need more. Also not a big fan of squats. Playing soccer, they didn't care, you know? They were like, well, you run, you use your legs, do squats, stop. I was like, okay, here's the deal, okay? On my Instagram, whenever anything pops up as those like short videos, it's always like fail videos, and it's typically workout fail videos. So the other day I was watching one, and this kid had he was like, I don't know. I said he was 93 pounds first service. Dude was probably 15 pounds. And he's sitting there, and he's like skinny as anything, had like 3 or 4 plates, like I don't know how much he had on each side. And the dude goes down and gets stuck, and then poof, face plants right on the bench, okay? Hilarious. Not hilarious, but hilarious. Right? I was like, that's terrible for him. But I giggled, you know? So anyway, I was watching this and I was like, that's exactly how we go through life, right? The way that we act, we're not really prepared for it. So when certain situations come, when we hang around certain people, we start to act a little different. Like we start to put ourselves in a different spot than we normally do because we're not prepared for it. You can't put 8 plates on each side and expect to be able to squat that. That doesn't make sense. You start out with body weight, and then you work your way up because you're building a muscle, okay? The next thing I have, and this is the second point, is like shock resistance. So these are things that are uncomfortable. They feel super out of our comfort zone. These will help you when you say yes because it grows value in you and it grows value in other people. Okay? So I got a couple examples. I pulled these. They were dusty, so I dusted them off. But I've got this little kettlebell, right? And then I used to do a lot of rock climbing. So anyway, I have these like resistance things that are supposed to be really good for building up grip strength and like helping you not get hurt when you're rock climbing. And so I kind of tried to piece these things together because I have these handbands, right? They look so funky. I'm not even gonna lie. I know I look like a doofus, but they're these resistance bands, and what they're meant to do is they're meant to work out muscles that you're not used to working out, that you use when you rock climb for grip strength. It's exactly what it's for. So I saw these guys, and they're out here like doing these insane, like they're holding on to a small pebble with one finger, and they're like hanging, and they make it look like it's nothing, right? And I was like, how did you do that? And they're like, oh, and then they showed me these, right? So these things are like meant to work muscles that you're not necessarily used to working, and it shocks your body, right? You're like kind of unprepared for it, but you're like, ooh, I needed that, you know, because you go out and you try to do something that you're not necessarily prepared for, and that's when you see all the dad videos where they're like, honey, I can't go to work for the next week. I pulled a hammy, you know? And they're like, I strained my lower back. And you're like, oh God, you know? But it's one of those things where like, if you're not preparing for stuff, then when it arrives, you don't know what to do with it. So you have this like shock resistance, right? These are like praying for coworkers. This is like worshiping in any situation, right? Like every season. Like no matter if it's good, no matter if it's bad, no matter if you feel like worshiping or you don't, this is standing in a state of surrender and worshiping because you know that he's got something for you on the other side. It's growth. The second thing is this, and Joe makes fun of me for it all the stinking time. So when I was in, like, I used to love to run, which I know is like really weird to say, because not a whole lot of people like to run, you know, let alone love to run, unless you're just like a crazy person. And I was. But I bought this respirator mask a few years ago because I thought I'd look like Bane from Batman. And anyway, it worked. But I also got some really weird looks on the road. But anyway, so like what it does, this specifically targets your lungs, right? So it restricts your breathing, and it's comparable to like, I think it was like 7,000 feet altitude. And it restricts your breathing, but your lungs grow. Like it allows you to hold more air, to be able to run longer, to have more endurance. Your muscles need oxygen, and it restricts the oxygen that you're allowing in, so it builds your muscles up faster. So anyway, I used to run around, and I was like, you know, like full run, like sprinting, and, you know, like not breathing. Like I probably sounded like I was dying, and then I'd like tell people, it's okay, you know, as I'm like running. But it's one of those things where it was like, it built this extra endurance. I used to run with this thing for like 10 to 13 miles. Like that was like one of my daily routines is I would run like long distance because I thought it was fun. Now I understand it's not. But anyway, I used to run with this thing all the time because I was like, I want to get so much better. I want to get faster. I was trying to kill my mile time. So I was like, I'm gonna, you know, do this because I got anything's gonna help. You know, like I had a parachute thing. I'd be like, yeah, you know, like getting like a 50-mile-an-hour wind. I just go, yeah, you know, it's just pulling me back. No, but like I used to do this stuff because I knew it would build muscle in the areas that I needed to build. And then it worked, right? So I did this and it was a routine thing. And I remember specifically, I went on a run with one of my buddies. And he was not a runner, but I was like, he's like, let's go on like a 2 or 3 mile run. And I was like, sick. And I was running a lot more than that typically. So I was like, he's like, but you can't just like dust me. And I was like, yeah, totally. And so like we're probably running at like a 7:15 pace or whatever. And I was like, sorry, Ben, I gotta go. And I like dumped it, dude. I was gone. He was like not able to catch up with me. I came back around and found him, and he was like, you're a jerk. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, it's not my fault. I was built this way. And anyway, so like, you know, I had built up this endurance so that I could begin to do more and to do it better. And that's exactly what we're called to as Christians. Like the respirator mask for me was like going out of your way to value others. The first service, I struggled, I lost it a little bit because I started talking about my dad. So my dad is amazing. I love my dad so much. And he is one of the most selfless people I've ever met. Like, he will value somebody way more than they would ever value themselves and devalue himself at the exact same time. And then you try to tell him that he did something good, and he's like, no, you did something good. You're like, shut up. Just take the compliment. But it's one of those things where it was like I really struggled because I talked about it first service, and it hit me a little hard because I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm supposed to be valuing other people, and the person in my life that I see seeing himself with the least amount of value still sees himself that way. So value others, and you'll start to gain value in yourself. Next one is the kettlebell. So I was doing like little squats and stuff. And anyway, I was like, I grew out of that, you know, like body weight squats. I was like, I need to do something better. So I had this kettlebell that I had bought for like $5, and I was like, I'm gonna use that. And anyway, I started watching these videos, and I started doing these CrossFit things where they like swing the kettlebell out and they catch it and they do a squat, and it's like, it works your whole body. And I was like, yeah. And Joe's like, why are you breathing heavy? Because she was in the bathroom taking her makeup off. And I was like, you know. And I was like, don't worry about it. And anyway, she comes in, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, why are you so sweaty? I was like, no, I just took a shower. It was sweat, 100%. But it was one of those things where like I was trying to put myself in a different situation from what I've normally done, right? Like a normal squat for me is like decently easy, right? I can do a squat, I feel okay, whatever, feel like I get a little bit of a workout from it, but I started using the kettlebell and it started targeting different muscles, and I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. I was like, how can I relate that to ministry? And I was like, that's leading in new ways. Right, that's stepping out of your comfort zone. That is, you know, like stepping into a new way of leadership, whether it's vocational, right, in your job, whether it's just being a leader in your family, whether it's if you want to lead at church, leading at church, if you want to lead and go to like a homeless shelter and you want to lead there, it's leading there. It's putting yourself in a different position that feels uncomfortable, but you know you're growing out of. Not only are you growing, you're adding value to other people. So here's the last thing that I want to talk about. And this is unexpected resistance. This is like the day-to-day stuff that we aren't really prepared for. These things can kind of knock us back from where we're currently at. But when we recognize where we stumble, it makes us more aware of the areas we need to grow. So this is, and I love these things, and I say that like slightly sarcastically, but I have these resistance bands, and anyway, I used to use these things all the time until I saw those videos of people that put them on the walls or like on their doors, and they break, and then they like snap them in the throat, and the person goes from being able to talk normal to talking like Batman, you know? And anyway, so like I used to use these all the time when I had my house, and I was like, this is awesome, right? But I was trying to relate how it applied, and you have a resistance band, like it's like an argument. Right? It's like something that just kind of eats at you. It's an argument with your spouse, your significant other, your coworkers, your like your family, anything like that. The difference with these, though, is that they don't really stop pulling on you. Like it's constant. Right? Like I'm sitting here and I can let my arms completely down to my side, but the tension doesn't go away. I'm still pulling. This is exactly what ministry is. People have asked me before, they're like, how easy is ministry? And I laugh at them. You think ministry's easy? Like you think it's easy to watch how I act? Like you think it's easy to watch how I speak? Like you think it's easy to deal with other people's problems and help them through it? No, it's not. But the thing about ministry is that you either have a purpose behind the situation or you're just trying to find a solution to a situation with no purpose on the back end of it. I was listening to a thing that popped up the other day, and it was this girl. She was like, you're telling me if I become a Christian, I'm still going to have to go through stuff? Duh. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to go through stuff, and it's probably going to get a little harder because now you have to watch the way you react to it. She's like, well, what's the point? He's like, the point is at least you have a purpose. Like, at least you have a path. At least you have a plan. What's the point of going through stuff in life without having anything to look forward to on the back end of it? And if we aren't building up our muscles to be able to take it when the big stuff happens, right? Like, if I hadn't figured out, and I haven't completely figured it out, but if I hadn't figured out how to communicate with Jordan, I probably got myself in trouble there. If I hadn't figured out how to communicate with Jordan, right, and we immediately go into a marriage and I don't know how to communicate my feelings, how to communicate my actions, how to talk to her about anything that's on my heart, it's going to be rough. Really rough. And it's just going to be constant, dude. Just all the time. I can't even get my arms up. Like I can't do anything about it. It just keeps adding to it, right? That's the thing about this unexpected resistance is that it's not like it comes one at a time. It comes all at the same time, right? You guys heard the saying, when it rains, it pours? Yeah, it's every day. When it rains, it pours. And it's not a lie. And it's not something that should discourage you. If you can get through the little things with Him, He's going to help you do the same thing with the big things. Right? So when things start to add up, and it's not just the argument with your spouse. Now it's like temptation, right? Like to an addiction, like to lust, to anything, right? Like now you're really trying to pull up. And if you haven't been building those muscles, then how are you going to pull up on it? Like how are you going to fight that? He says, if you meditate on my word day and night, it won't depart from you. He says, out of the belly flows rivers of living water, right? But that means it has to be inside first. God's asking us to do a few things, right? But He's kind of given us some solutions, and He's given us a little encouragement. Now, I'm going to talk about the encouragement for just a second. I want to talk about Philippians 4:13. I'm just going to read through these really fast. It says, I can do all things through Christ, or I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Isaiah 40:29. It says, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary. Young men stumble and fall, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Isaiah 40. The next verse. It says, they will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. 1 Timothy 6:12. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal life which you were called to when you made your good confession in the presence of many witnesses. Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Romans 12:21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in this race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Proverbs 22 verse 6, and this is the last one. Start your children off in the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. All this is encouragement. It's saying that no matter what you're going to go through, God's right there to help you along the whole way. He's saying that when you're weak, it's okay because I can be strong for you. Right? He's putting people in our lives that are encouraging us and building us up. And when we do it for ourselves, we don't have to rely on them as much. God's given us the opportunity to grow. He's given us the weights to build our muscles. And it's up to us whether we're going to read into it and whether we're going to start to follow it. I love our offering thing because it says pause to pray and obey. The reason we pause is to stop ourselves from thinking. Especially when it comes to things that are a little bit uncomfortable. Finances are never super comfortable, right? But it tells us to pause. It tells us to stop. Take a second. Get off of what you want. Get off of your mind. Pray about it. Just pray. And this is everything. This isn't even finances. This isn't every situation in our life. Pray about it. If you're having an argument with your wife, I've asked Jordan to, actually she has asked me. She has asked me to leave the room so she can pray for a second. I like to talk. But she's asked me to leave the room so that she can pray, so that she can get clarity on what she needs in that moment to be able to communicate the way that she feels. Right? She's working that moment. You think that's easy? Right? Do you think that's something that's like super comfortable? Hey, can you walk out for a second? I know we're about to fight. Give me a minute. I'm going to go freshen up, you know? No, it's not comfortable at all. It's something that you have to build up, right? But she knows that in those moments, if she doesn't take that, the fight's not going to be worth having. The last thing is just to obey. Like if God's putting something on your heart, and this isn't every situation, whether you're communicating with coworkers, how like your thoughts on Christianity, or whether you're communicating with them, just listening to them, like letting them pour their hearts out to you. Obey what he's asking you to say back, because sometimes it's not very comfortable. It's not very easy to say, hey, can I pray with you for a second? It's not very easy if he puts it on your heart to bless somebody with $100, to go out and just give somebody $100. Like it's not very easy to just put yourself in a situation to just be vulnerable. Like it's difficult. But God's given us the opportunity, and he's given us the tools to be able to do this and to do it well. I have one more thing that I feel like I need to just kind of point this out. I feel like sometimes in life we get a little too comfortable with asking the question why. Like, why am I going through this? Why do I have to deal with this? Why is nothing working out the way that it should? And I heard this the other day. Some guy was like, man, if you could ask God anything, what would you ask him? He's like, actually, I don't know if I'd ask him anything. He's like, I've asked why for so long. When you break down what why is, it's got 3 letters, why. W, who hurt you, is the first question you can ask, right? But you don't just leave it there and get complacent. The second question is, who helped you? And the last one is, who healed you? So here's the deal, as we're talking about this and we're talking about growing, we're talking about, like being healed and starting to kind of build up our spiritual muscles. We're talking about this thought process of sometimes you have to break down what looks good so that something better can happen on the back end. That's all muscle. That's all it is to build muscle. You're breaking down the fibers. That's why it hurts. But when it stops hurting, it's because now they've started to restore themselves. Who healed you? So today, I just want to challenge you one thing, and I'll be done. But I followed this guy for a long time on Instagram, and anyway, he was a ex-Army Ranger, and he had this saying because he started a nutrition company, and it was "Go one more," and got it tattooed on him. So he said, "I never want to forget to go one more." The Bible tells us to go one more, first of all. The second of all, if you don't want to relate anything to the Bible, you don't have to. I mean, you can take whatever I've said today, you can throw it in the trash, but if you guys want to, just think about this. Go one more. What does that mean? It means that when the situations get really tough, you're on your last rep of the final set, and you're like, I just want to be done. And you're like, oh, I'm too tired. I can't even try. He's saying, go one more, even if you fail. Because you're still building something, even if you fail. He's saying, go one more, even if you stumble, because you're still building something, even if you stumble. It's the same thing as we go through life. And as we go through this thought process of growing as we go, if you stumble, that's okay. Get back up and go again. Go one more round. Like, try to beat it this time. Like, if you fall, get back up. Like, the race doesn't stop just because you fell. You fell. The race keeps on going. So if everybody would bow your heads, close your eyes with me. I want to ask a couple of questions. And if you respond to the questions at all, I'm just going to have you raise your hand and put it right back down. But if you felt like you related to this at all today, and you were like, man, I feel like I keep falling and I just kind of gotten okay with not getting back up. Just kind of stay where I'm at, but I really want to push forward. I really want to start serving with all that I have. You're like, but I've never asked Jesus into my heart, and that's you. If you just raise your hand, if you want to ask Jesus into your heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Or if you're on the other end where you've asked Jesus into your heart, but you're like, I haven't really been walking the way that I'm supposed to. And I want to repent. Like, I want to turn around and I want to run back towards him. If that's you, would you raise your hand? Thank you. Thank you. Well, if y'all would just repeat this prayer after me. Say, Jesus, thank you for sending your son to die for me, to value me, to love me. God, I'm sorry. Forgive me of all my wrongs. God, help me to shine bright for you. And everything I do, let my mouth be a vessel. Let my actions be a vessel. Let me serve you with all I have. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Well, if that was you and you raised your hand for any one of those options, in the chair in front of you, we have a Jesus card or a Let's Be Friends card. If you would just fill out your information, we'd love to get in contact with you, get to know who you are, and be in prayer with you. If not, you guys are good to go. Have a great Sunday. We loved having you at Elevate.
Your purpose is worth the enduring, and we need a generation that is not going to fall. We need to understand that a life with God is abundant, it is joyful, it is awesome, it is amazing.
We are called to have encounters with those that are lost, because if we don't honor the cross. We don't make sure that it actually counts for what he said it needs to count for.
And how many are thankful that because he has completed it, because he's perfect, because he paid the price, because of who he is, you are now identified with him, and you are complete in Christ Jesus. Can I hear an amen? That's what God wants you to know.
We have no reason to be upset. We know that this is the stock. We know that this is going to pay the greatest dividends ever. When someone is in affliction, when someone is in danger, when someone is in need of healing, I must be raised